I just make this kind of short. The reason why I'm interested in the Walsh case with the same 6-year-old boy is that one of the photos that was sent to me after September 12th, the Chris Stevenson was attacked in my home, and my boy was there and taken away, and I got a confession on murder at the same scene, right? The the pictures first there was sent two pictures where it looks like a police photo, and there was a third photo where it looks like he's very skinny, my boy, right? And his hands are kind of lame, and skinny. And I figured that that could not be possible if I had a murder confession. Then I see each month, 1 hour, I see my boy, right? And I cannot testify to who that boy is. So it's still a question. But the third photo with the boy is a dark photo, and it's a boy sitting in a leather sofa with something in front of him, like some book or something. And the hands are somehow looking like a lame person. And I remember the photo on a Walsh poster where there is a photo of the boy where I think the hands are a bit the same, right? So I figure because we got that in this my case is a lot of criminals from the entertainment, and there I would say Michael Bear 13 hours on cover, 13 hours the diplomat was not killed in Libya, right? And urban stuff, and also Susanna Beer and her instructor field, right? And a photograph from my background is in play, right? And a photograph that's been in hide, Irish maybe. So basically, that photo might break the case for Walls as well, if it's a manipulated picture, or if the person have a file of the Walls case, but also on my boy's case. Could be an older person. It could also be a person from this American Danish film, right? Secondly, if I jump back to when in the early 80s, I actually was meeting Ted Bundy. At that time, I was living in this town, and he came off one of the roads close to my house, and he was dressed very kind of New York kind of way with a jacket and looked a bit like a New Yorker. And at that time, I had some interest in Clinton and also of Peter Martin, the ballet dancer, right, who is in play right now on another case. So basically, I thought like, okay, this is a contact. So I asked him, are you from the United States? And he said yes. And I asked him, who are you working for? And he said, I'm a lawyer. And I asked him, are you working for Washington D.C., the government? And he said no. And I said, well, do you want to have a cup of coffee or something? And he went into the room in my house, in the house I lived in then. And we sat down and drank coffee. And I think I could kind of sense that he was drunk or on drugs. He was a little bit slow as a drunk person. And I think it developed like this, that there was really no kind of chemistry between us. There was no kind of attraction or something. And at the time, he was. I think I tried to make some move, and it was turning out a bit strange. So I actually ended up pushing him out of my room door, and next pushing him out of the front door and locking up. And I think when he left, he actually smashed a window. It was a double window, so nothing happened. But I was actually the person in a rude way saying like, I make a move on you. We don't know each other kind of way, and that's because of my upbringing. So basically, when I look over the case of Ted Bundy, I can see some problems in the case running. Number one, his lawyer. The lawyer says in the interview that his girlfriend was killed. his girlfriend was killed, right? Secondly, he says that Ted Bundy was arrested for no driver license and he forgot to tell them, or he told them that he was the murder suspect. Both of the things is wrong, right? He didn't tell them or he told them. At that time, was he a murder suspect or not? I don't know. But wouldn't it be right to tell them if he was, or did he invent a murder suspect? Secondly, the journalist that has been chasing him down actually lived here. So it reveals around here in some part, right? And I think that also some of the pictures, there were found some pictures in a bank box, some photos of Ted Bundy. One of the photos I recognize a relation, right? And I also realized that when Ted Bundy is interviewed by the journalist, he sounds a little more like a reader, like an investigating reader, right? And therefore, what is his role actually? Because I think like I can witness that I have a cranium fracture, but I think I got it somewhere else. To be honest, I was in a fight with terrorism in Copenhagen, breaking a bande. I was captured by KGB in around 80, later 80s, right? So I didn't have the fractures. I think the fractures from earlier, but the documents of that fracture is written by a suspect in relation to me, not at Ted Bundy, right? Secondly, I think there's something wrong in that case. Also because it's very common that if you have like if you're a suspect of two murders, you might as well try and suspect them for more, right? Do you understand? It's very easy to be blind on something else if you are already having, and the press love this kind of serial genius people, and they're not, right? Secondly, Alex Kelly. I was in Copenhagen together with my sister, and she was working at a photo gallery. I have a sister and a brother who is professional photographer. I think my father and mother also was, right? So basically, we were. I was recovering from some. I was attacked, right? So I go back to the studio to rest, and the other girls go into town, right? And on the way out, we were meeting with some young people going on the street, and we talked shortly with them, right? Then when I come back to the studio, there was a knock on the door, and I thought like it could be like one of her friends, or I couldn't reason not to open, right? So I opened the door, and somebody came in. I mean, he was actually throwing me around. It was, and that's why I look at all cases about judo and things, because the way he was throwing me around was incredible, really wild. And another thing is that I was fearing for my life under that rape, right? So there was a camera laying close to the bed, so I actually shot off a picture of him, and I realized that that picture turned up in a German anti-rape site. I found that picture that I didn't know existed, and I forgot all about it. So basically, I can see myself, and it has some indication of who the man is. There's an ear and a half of the face, but it's not the whole picture. I still have it actually. So that person, I still want to find out who that was, because that's a dangerous person, and that's why we came around with different types of rapists. Then I was also raped by the KGB in Litauen, and I've been shot at numbers of times and plaguing abandoned, and also on elsewhere, right? So I'm not like, I still reckon that rape in the studio was one of the worst things I experienced. It's actually a bit worse sometimes than the KGB. So basically, I'm a little bit immune to rape, in a way that this were close to being life threatening, right? So, and we also have a loose person at the in Skjern and in this area, and I can't really get hand of it. You don't see him, so he's probably a drug rapist, I think. But basically, the problem is security, money, and disturbing bad news about justice system and government and media.